he would have liked to. We've had this conversation many times. Can you train somebody to be better at sex?
No. Here you can be patient and try things with people and let it evolve. But if you're always behind the curve, you're going to feel guilty about it. And if you're always waiting for somebody to catch up with you, so to speak, you're always going to be aware of that. So put a pin in what you said before about like, what if I should have said something? Follow that through. You were feeling guilty about, well, what if I should have said that he wasn't good enough in bed for me? Like you're setting up yourself that your only outlets are either don't disclose it and feel guilty, which is what you feel now, or disclose it and feel guilty because you hurt his feelings. That's not okay for you to feel like the only two options are guilt.
Right.
Like what's the point of that? That's about you. It's okay not to say to people, there's been a ton of people that have flirted with you, that have asked you out, that you've just kind of pushed aside for whatever reason, and they're not at home. Well, two of them are at home crying because you won't get back to them. Like they're not really upset by that. I think people take that and then move on.
I will also say, we've brought this up before, the training somebody. I think that to Andy's point, no, you cannot train someone. What you can do is be patient and show them what you like and take the lead in some way. But if there still is not chemistry, or there's still not a match that is happening, then there's just not a match that's happening. And there may be a match for him, that other person, that totally matches where he's at right now. And so that's fine for him. It just doesn't match for you two.
Here's another level of that. Shame on you for holding on to somebody who you're waiting to catch up when they could be finding the person that's a good match for them.
Oh my God.
Totally.
So true.
And that goes cross genders. Like shame on you for feeling like I'm waiting for this person to get to a certain point and then I'm going to invest my commitment, my love to them. Like, fuck that. Come on. Like that's about power. And
that's, cheers to that.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
I've
made some difficult decisions based on that.
And for somebody who's just...
No, you have to drink after you cheers. That's bad luck.
With eye contact.
That was awkward.
Do you think we went off the rails on this episode?
I have maybe. But I have I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit.
Please. Don't read a poem.
And I'm not. And be way less mature than you guys are being. But so, and only because Andy and I have an inside joke, but what is your absolute, the person that you're looking for has to have this particular quality, and what is your absolute deal breaker? Not top three, just something that has to happen.
The one thing?
Just pick one.
Just pick one.
It might not be the one thing, but one thing.
I see how you're both looking at me like I have to go first here.
This is your show, baby.
She was asking you.
She was
I'm asking
us.
everybody.
Yeah, but
She's asking us. Okay. Fuck. One thing I have to choose?
It doesn't have to be the one thing.
Okay, but a one thing. He for sure has to be open to experimentation and letting me drive.
Are you talking about life?
Sex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love how that is something that's really open, because you're not saying it has to be a particular thing. It's you're open to trying things.
Yeah, because I'm for sure. Optimistic. Actually, while you were talking, I was thinking, I have been confronted recently with this idea that I want to experiment with somebody and crazy. I don't want to say crazy shit, because it doesn't have to be crazy, but just new things. Mm-hmm. And I come up, maybe I don't watch enough porn, but I find myself drawing a blank as to what specifically that is. And I would love to be...
Such a great point in life.
Because it's a
whole new world. I'm just going to keep coming back to that.
Which is, it's better to be hungry and capable.
Ooh, I like
than
that.
unable to satiate your cravings. Does that make sense?
Ooh, that's a writer downer.
So I think that that's a good thing, that you can read that in other people. So read that about yourself, that you're hungry and capable. You're I want something new. I want to be challenged. Mm-hmm. I want to try. I want to be willing to fail, which I think that's another thing when it comes to sex that people maybe hold back a bit. Because I don't want to try something. And it's not I want to try something and it doesn't satisfy, but I want to try something and then it ends up being a traumatic experience in some way.
Let me clarify that too. What turns me on more about that is not my showing this person, hey, here's a cool thing that we can try. It's the two of us discovering something new together.
Yeah.
So there is a bit of a dreamy idea of both of us never having done it before, but doing it together.
Yeah.
But the deal breaker, I don't know if you're going to judge me for this, but I'm going to go with body odor. Like somebody who smells like he hasn't showered or put deodorant on.
That's fine.
I can't do it.
But didn't we have this conversation before? Like that physiological thing, the pheromones might be very attractive to certain people. So that person that you're into, like fucking into, might stink to somebody else, but to you, you're like, this smells like hot sex, like right now.
Yeah, that's true. I just
so the pheromones have to match.
Can I do a part 2 of
sure.
Like have to? This could fall into the. No, this is super hot. The whole like.
So you know what that says to me? Do you want to
Dollar Shave Club subscriber? You know what I mean? Like somebody who
we had that conversation in the kitchen the other day.
Yes, like shave that shit. I don't need tooth floss right now.
I think that's fair.
Dental floss. Sorry.
So there's the other thing too, that the double standard thing. So you're talking about like body hair, right? Mm-hmm. And you're specifically talking about pubic hair. Like you prefer to have your partner like have no pubic hair.
All of it.
He doesn't mince words. He just goes there.
That's fine. No, all of it. From like here, from the neck
all the way
to
down.
the knees.
Okay. So you can have like toe hair. That's your okay with toe hair? Let's be clear. So here's the thing too about pubic hair. Some people
smooth penis.
There are some
toe
people.
Hair fine.
So I don't care about body hair, but I have been with women who have said they prefer themselves to be whatever, like either shaved or they don't want to be because they feel like that's what's comfortable for them. I have also had partners who have said, well, isn't this what guys want because nothing gets in the way? I'm like, that's so fascinating because the paradigm that men struggle with, if men can struggle about anything, is that like, well, if you desire to have no hair, then that means that you're more attracted to a younger prepubescent body shape or look, which is not necessarily true, but like that's the kind of fear that they're having with that. Mm-hmm. But they might just have a practical reason that I just don't want to have hair involved in that.
Right,
it's fine.
I'm going to say that has actually crossed my mind as well because I have a 13-year-old daughter, and actually she was younger, but. I did go through the Brazilian thing is actually very attractive for me to do because there is some sensorial things that happen when there's like nothing getting in the way, right?
Yeah.
But I couldn't get past, and this is, I think I've evolved since then, but the idea that I have a young daughter. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, if a guy really wants that to be completely clear, I did question, is that because he's like,
who knows?
No,
I think that it's just what people are attracted to, and I would argue that most men, when given the option, don't really care as much. They might, I
think that's just a natural sort of beauty and lifestyle trends that we go through cyclically as a society.
It's probably just as simple as that.
It is. I really think that it's that because if you go back to the 70s, where like crazy 70s style, 70s bush was the thing, and unless you had like a full patch there, like you weren't so hot.
And that's what I was getting at, is that it sounds like your deal breaker ones were really actually desires. You're like, I need them to be, I like them when they're really hot, which is great. Everybody likes to have a hot partner. But you're talking about grooming. You're talking about self-care. And it's clearly because it's something that's a value you have. Great. Put it in that broader category.
Isn't that great? Like he totally teases out what the real meaning
is.
Because there's a difference.
For me, it's more about like the fact that he took the time, whatever that, like for example, I've never been a beard person, no offense, but
I love beards.
The thing is like when I see somebody with a beard who has clearly taken time to groom it one way or the other, whatever, then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that's very... No, he just
like
had
his
beard groomed recently.
It's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
If they're doing stuff down in their pants and like they're like it's either shaved or it's like I don't know, there's like freaking flowers or something. The fact is that he was like, oh, I want to turn her on and I'm going to do something.
So here's two things.
That's kind of hot.
So here's two things. One, consider the fact that I think that people who are really into self-grooming in that way have a familiarity with their body, have a confidence with their body that actually is really what you're really into as well. It's not just the look; it's also the effort.
It's the effort.
But also I'm going to test it. if you are dating somebody who is grooming themselves to completely hairless in that way, where they're really shaving that, they're paying somebody to do that in the same way that women would pay somebody to do that. Most likely that person who's doing that is female. Does that bother you?
No.
Okay.
But I know that's not happening.
What do you mean? There's not a lot of really successful self-grooming for men in that way.
I'm going to disagree. Yeah. No, they're not.
There's a lot of DIY that's scrolling through
DIY,
my Instagram feed.
Yeah, 100%. Only because I've asked the question, horrible. And so I've been.
It's for somebody who has horrible skin. That is a horrible outcome for somebody to do that. Like
maybe it's not for waxing. They're shaving. Yeah. I know for sure that's DIY for sure. Well, at least with the people that I'm hanging out with.
I would say the answer would be go on a date with a guy, and you're kind of into it, like third date or whatever it is, or whenever you started having sex, and like this is something. What you do is you call.
Do people wait for the third date?
In a range, I said third date or whatever. It doesn't. I wasn't.
Okay.
They do.
7:07. So the outcome of that is like if you're out with somebody and you've had sex with them a couple of times and you're like, I want you to try something, so you talk about experiment, combine the two and say, hey, there's somebody I really want you to meet, and set up an appointment for them at their esthetician and talk them through it and say, let's try it. I really like men that are fully groomed. And
I would be horrified if
somebody said that to me. I would too.
You think so?
Yeah. Somebody once said something similar to me, and I was like,
but there's a way
you can go.
But there's a way to say it. Like, this is something I really enjoy. Would you be up for that? If no,
you know what would be sexier is to say, let's shower. Will you let me shave you?
I'm sorry.
That would be sexier.
I will say,
right?
It takes me a couple more dates to feel comfortable getting naked with blades with anybody, because I'm not careful with myself. I cut myself all the time. Like, I couldn't imagine being in the shower with somebody that I'm really attracted to, that I probably just had sex with, I'm about to have sex with, I hope to have sex with again. I'm going to think about having sex as soon as I leave, and I'm going to give them blades, a closed container in a locked room that I often get locked in. Like, my body could be gone in minutes.
You see why Andy's one of my favorite people?
Oh my God. Also, side note, who doesn't like to have sex in the shower?
I think some people don't like it.
It's sticky.
Yeah, there's some confinement issues too. Some people, claustrophobia.
Confinement's not the thing. It's the stickiness.
Here's what I didn't like. There's
stuff for that.
You've told me.
So I love having like sex in a shower, or whatever, like non-traditional places. Like a bed is like a default in a certain way, but whatever. But the one experience that I had is that I thought sex in a shower was sexy until I realized that like an ex, I'll just say it, my ex-wife used to also make that a practical thing. So she would kind of hog the water, and so she'd be like having a shower.
Her hair
yeah, and so she was such a multitasker that I was like, that does not, or like, this is wasteful. Like, we're wasting water. I'm like, well then, that's like, while we're here,
let's wash the tile.
Yeah. Spray a little like shower gel on there, and like kind of wash the tile down.
So Andy, what's your
my things, must-haves, and then I think one must-have has to be like a sense of humor, because if somebody is a little too serious, or a little too scripted, then I'm just gonna have a really hard time fitting in. And that's just not gonna be something that I really enjoy. But it has to be a sense of humor, and I mean that not just the funny. Like, some of the best senses of humor I know are super dry and kind of out there. Mm-hmm. But for deal breakers, like things I can't deal with, for me, what it has manifested into, and I'd be curious to think what you guys come up with this. It's people that are like rude. I know that sounds like a dating show thing, but I was on a date with a woman a number of years ago, and she was just really mean to the wait staff. And granted, the wait staff was being a little bit like too attentive. For sure. Mm-hmm. And then they kept like harping on that. And one of the things that was important to them was to express how other people weren't meeting their expectations. So it told me a lot. I was like, well, this isn't going to work out. But I think that for me, it was really this visceral reaction. And this happens when you go out in the kind of online dating market, where you're dating with higher frequency than you normally do. When you're in those periods of time where you're just going on more dates, you start finding these small things. And it's an attitudinal of like separation. It's like, those people over there are this way, and I'm better than that, is something I really just can't get over. That. It's never going to be okay.
Yeah.
So me talking shit about the bagel place this morning was kind of a turn off.
Yeah. But there's a solution there, and you just don't go. Like,
don't go.
If it's something you don't experience in life, and you choose to engage with that.
I was very nice with them.
Yeah, and that's what happened. This person was like, I come here all the time. The service is always shitty. I'm like, that doesn't
then
make
stop
sense.
going.
Yeah.
I just forgot what was